With Pokemon Legends ZA coming out soon, or maybe it already came out by the time I get this video out, I don't know. Mega Evolution is finally back on the menu, and I've been feeling nostalgic about the old days of speculating on potential Mega Evolutions. However, months and months before we got our first new Mega, all of the Pokemon that are getting Megas were leaked online. I'm not going to show any here, don't worry, I won't spoil anything. Since we've been aware of the Megas so early on, it meant there really wasn't much speculation to be had. That is, until the DLC got announced, and now we've got more opportunities to brainstorm on more Megas. So I know the number in the title and thumbnail seems a little arbitrary, but I'm basically going to pick 3 Pokemon, asterisk, per generation to give a Mega to. I'm mainly going to focus on weaker Pokemon that could use a boost catching up in the meta. I know Game Freak doesn't always do this, but I think that's dumb. Mega Evolution should have just been for weak and unpopular Pokemon. Now, I'm not a very good artist, so just use your imagination or something for the designs of the Megas. And without further ado, let's begin with Gen 1. For the first choice of Mega, we've actually got a tie, hence the asterisk in the title. Because you can't have one Nido without the other. Nidoking and Nidoqueen are 2 really cool Pokemon that have definitely fallen victim to power creep over the years. So how do we bring them back to the spotlight? Starting with Nidoking, it's definitely the more offensive of the 2. So we'll mostly focus on increasing its attack with a smaller boost to speed and its defenses. Nidoqueen will be much more focused on its defenses while also leaning fully into being a special attacker. Ability-wise, the simple answer is to just keep Sheer Force on them, as that's what they're already known for. But if you want to get a little more interesting, I think Supreme Overlord on Nidoking and Queenly Majesty on Nidoqueen could have some interesting results and still fitting their royalty theming. Second in Gen 1, we have a Pokemon that's been overshadowed competitively by a later split evolution, Poliwrath. For the longest time, Poliwrath has been in the shadows of its rain-summoning cousin, Politoed. That, combined with Poliwrath's frankly boring design, has meant that it's been out of the spotlight for a long time. But we can make it see the light of day again by giving it a Mega. Starting off, we're going to give it boosts across the board, mainly into attack and speed. You may notice that I didn't go too crazy with this attack stat, compared to many other Megas at least, and that's because of its ability. I could just go with Swift Swim and call it a day, but let's spice it up and give it an ability that is currently only on one Pokemon. Let's give Mega Poliwrath Water Bubble. This may sound a little extreme at first, considering Araquanid is already capable of heavy damage with an attack stat of just 70, but consider this. It's funny. Halved fire damage, immune to burns, and doubling the power of its water moves, Mega Poliwrath is a force to be reckoned with. Just give it some Tailwind or Sticky Web support so you can let it keep up with any potential threats. Lastly, for Gen 1, we have one of the most deserving Pokemon for a Mega, Arbok. Arbok hasn't been much of a victim to power creep because it's sucked from the start. Slow, frail, and weak, Mega Arbok will need to put in a lot of work. It's going to see big increases to its defenses and decent buffs to its attack and speed. With its Mega, it will also gain the Dark type, giving it only one weakness in ground and a new immunity to Psychic. Arbok's Dex entries mention how it is vengeful in nature, making the Dark type a perfect fit for its Mega. As for its abilities, Merciless will be given to Arbok. Finally, a Pokemon that can actually make use of this ability. I picture Mega Arbok's playstyle being to spread poison across the enemy team and whittle them down with toxic damage and guaranteed crits on any poison foe. Moving on to Gen 2, there are plenty of weak Pokemon to pull from. One with a lot of potential in my eyes though is Octillery. As a slow, frail, mixed attacker, Octillery has a lot of weaknesses, but we can give it new life. Upon Mega Evolution, Octillery will gain the Fire type, giving it the extremely rare combo of Water-Fire, fitting of its Artillery inspiration. We can start off with a huge buff to its special attack. It's always been kind of strange to me that Octillery is a mixed attacker to begin with, as its special move pool is significantly wider than its physical one, with coverage all across the board. But I will still give it a boost to its physical attack, just to still have the option to use it physically. A boost to its defenses will help it stay around a bit longer, and losing some points in speed will make it more usable in Trick Room teams. As for its ability, Sniper still works for some focus energy strats, though if you want to get wacky, Mega Launcher also fits thematically, though this would preferably come with a buff to Mega Launcher so that more moves are affected by it. Second in Gen 2 is Granbull. Despite receiving the Fairy type in Gen 6, Granbull still sees little to no play in pretty much any format. With an already high attack stat, Granbull really just needs some speed and bulk, and it can finally see some use. Boosting its speed up to 95 will allow it to outspeed plenty of threats with just a bit of speed control. And bringing its defenses up to 90 and 100 respectively will allow it to take a lot more hits, especially with its Intimidate ability before Mega Evolving. And bringing its attack stat up to 145 will make it capable of some crazy high damage. As for its ability, there are a lot of options, but Strong Jaw makes the most sense to me, letting its non-stab biting moves deal even more damage. Lastly, for Gen 2, we have a Pokemon that I've always wanted to see get some kind of power boost, Lanturn. Lanturn as is a decently bulky Pokemon with little else to show for. However, I think this is too cool of a design and typing to let go untouched. So let's Mega Evolve it. Mega Evolution will bring both of its defense stats up to 100, making it very bulky. Its special attack will soar all the way up to 120, which, although low in comparison to many other Megas, is still able to deal some decent damage. As for ability, I think what fits it the most is Drizzle. No other Mega Pokemon has Drizzle as an ability, unless you count Primal Kyogre, but no one cares about my Primal Kyogre. So Lanturn will get a standout in that regard. Lanturn itself will especially benefit from this, as its water moves will get an increase in damage and it'll be able to rip 100% accurate thunders for big damage. All of this combined will hopefully give Lanturn a place on rain teams. Gen 3 has a lot of weaker Pokemon that could use a boost, even with the large number of them that got Megas in Gen 6. Starting off as a Pokemon that isn't particularly weak, but does have a lot of potential as a Mega, Milotic. Its counterpart Gyarados got a Mega back in Gen 6, but Milotic itself was kind of just left in the dust. Upon Mega Evolution though, Milotic will gain the Fairy type and will see a big boost to its special attack, defense, and speed, with a smaller boost to special defense. Milotic's current claim to fame is Marvel Scale, which gives it a defense boost while it has a status condition. However, as a Mega, it can't guarantee that it'll get a status condition. I could just go with its other best ability, Competitive, to give it a special attack boost whenever a stat gets lowered, but I thought of something more interesting. The item used to evolve Feebas into Milotic is called the Prism Scale. It can be pretty reasonably inferred that these are the scales that make up Milotic's body. So what better ability to give it than the currently legendary exclusive Prism Armor. This will make Milotic take less damage from super effective hits, allowing it to stay around for even longer and chip away at enemy teams. One of the most infamously terrible Pokemon, Tropius has always been a massive disappointment. It has a really sick design, but it's unfortunately wasted on a Pokemon with terrible stats. Mega Tropius will mainly focus on its defenses with an especially big boost to its special defense, along with a slight increase to its special attack. Its ability I did struggle with, as it can't really utilize Harvest, and Solar Power would not help it deal much more damage at all. Chlorophyll is an option, but I ultimately decided to go a little off the wall with Contrary. With Leaf Storm boosting its special attack by 2 stages instead of lowering it, it can quickly build up damage if not dealt with quickly. It's probably still not the greatest Pokemon, but it is at least a hell of an improvement to where it was before. Now, the last Gen 3 Pokemon, I struggled and struggled for hours, days on end, racking my brain to think of another Gen 3 Flygon. It's Flygon. Obviously, it's Flygon. Who else would it be? Robbed of a Mega back in Gen 6, Flygon is so close to being good, but it just needs that one little boost, in this case plus 100 to its base stat total. An issue with Flygon's stats as is that it doesn't fully commit to its offensive stats, capping out its attack and speed at 100. I can fix that by bringing both of these stats up to 135, along with bringing its special attack up to 110 for the option to use it specially. As for its ability, I wanted to take from one of Trapinch's abilities. It was close between the two, but I ultimately decided to go with Sheer Force over Arena Trap. With Sheer Force, it gives Mega Flygon more flexibility to be used physically or specially, and hopefully make it more viable. Or at least better than Mega Garchomp. Gen 4 is full of a lot of evolutions to old Pokemon, however it does leave the original mods introduced in the gen to feel a bit lacking. One of these is Vespiquen. Despite its really cool design, Vespiquen has always been severely underwhelming in battle. With a Mega though, it may finally see some use. Starting off, it's going to get a type change. It'll swap out the Flying type with Rock, a much better defensive typing combined with Bug, and still in line with Vespiquen's vaguely gem-themed design, I don't know, I'm kind of grasping at straws here. Just imagine the design has something to do with, like, crystallized honey or something. Along with this, both of its defense stats are getting a big buff, bringing them both up to 132. It'll also have a bit of a boost to its attacking stats to let it do a little more damage. To combo with his defensive playstyle, I'm going to give it Intimidate. After all, seeing a gigantic queen bee with a hive attached to it would be pretty intimidating, realistically. All of this together will hopefully make Mega Vespiquen a defensive force to be reckoned with. With all of the new evolutions introduced in this game, some were bound to fall behind a bit. While there may be more that could use the Mega slot a little more, I couldn't not pick Yanmega, if for nothing else than for Mega Yanmega being a thing. Or, in Japanese, Mega Mega Yanma. Its typing will change to the highly elusive Bug Dragon type. Honestly, I don't know why the Dragonfly Pokemon wasn't a Bug Dragon type to begin with. Stat-wise, it's simple. Big boost to special attack and some moderate boost to the rest of its stats. Its playstyle will be similar to Mega Sharpedo, utilizing a turn before Mega Evolving to get a speed boost, and then Mega Evolving to gain Tinted Lens, one of base form Yanmega's other abilities. All of these combined together makes Mega Yanmega a demon that can easily spiral out of control if not dealt with quickly. Finally, for Gen 4, we have one of the most forgettable Pokemon of all time, Carnivine. Right off the bat, it was clear to me what Mega Carnivine should be all about. It's going to be a really slow, really bulky physical attacker capable of trapping in opponents with Arena Trap and either slowly whittling away at them with Leech Seed and Synthesis, or outright taking the kill with its base 134 attack. Fairly straightforward compared to every other Mega so far, but still very effective. Moving on to Gen 5, Golurk is a Pokemon who is so much weaker than it really has any right to be. It has high attack, but mediocre bulk and really low speed, so let's fix that. Giving it a huge increase to attack will make it be able to deal insane amounts of damage. Buffing its defensive stats up to 105 gives it much more survivability, but perhaps its most surprising change here is its speed. Such a high boost to speed may seem unfitting for such an otherwise slow Pokemon at first, but take into consideration that Golurk can use its legs as rockets. I imagine a Mega Golurk would finally utilize this design element in the games, also giving me an excuse to give Golurk a massive speed buff. As for its ability, I considered giving it Shadow Shield, but ultimately decided on Levitate to fit in line with its rocket legs. A Unova Pokemon that often goes under the radar is Cryogonal. It actually has somewhat decent stats already with a big focus on its special defense. Its special attack and speed are just decent, however, and its physical defense is highly lacking. So, to make Cryogonal more of a threat, its Mega will have a big focus on making it faster and making it hit harder, with a small boost to its defense. Its defense is still pretty lackluster, but this will be somewhat helped with its ability Snow Warning. The Snow will give Mega Cryogonal a 50% boost to its defense stat and allow it to set up Aurora Veil when it Mega Evolves. All of these changes combined will hopefully give Cryogonal a place in competitive play. Another one of the most forgettable Pokemon, Beheeyem. Beheeyem is a Pokemon with a lot of potential. I actually have a bit of an idea of what I would want its design to look like, with part of its body turning into a full-on UFO, giving it the Steel type. Stat-wise, it's getting a huge increase to its defenses and special attack, with a massive 170 special attack. It does lose points in speed, but this works in its advantage as it keeps its hidden ability Analytic, letting it deal more damage if it moves after the target. It can also work very well on Trick Room teams, making Mega Beheeyem a force to be reckoned with. Despite being the evolution to introduce Mega Evolution, very few Gen 6 Pokemon ever received Megas. Until Legend ZA, at least. There are several Gen 6 Pokemon that I think should get Megas, and the arguably least needed one that I've picked is Noivern. Noivern has always been a cool Pokemon, but has always felt somewhat underpowered compared to many other dragons. A Mega for Noivern should mainly focus on increasing its damage potential, so we'll give it its special attack a big buff with a smaller boost to its speed and defenses, along with a small boost to attack to waste some points so I don't create a monster. As for its ability, Punk Rock fits best with its sound theme and will make for supremely powerful boom bursts. And for the next Gen 6 Pokemon, Pangoro has always felt just on the verge of being good. With already good HP and attack stats, Mega Pangoro can afford to invest more into its defenses and speed, though I will of course give it some stat points in attack. Its special defense will be brought up to 110 and its physical defense up to 90. It's going to be much bulkier physically than it seems, however, as it will gain the ability Fur Coat upon Mega Evolution, making it nearly impossible to take out with just physical attacks. The last Gen 6 Pokemon was by far the hardest to make for this video, Dedenne. Dedenne's stats are underwhelming to say the absolute least, so making a usable Mega out of this was tough. Ultimately, I decided that Mega Dedenne should be focused on being a fast support Pokemon with a usable special attack stat and decent bulk. To further support its support role, Mega Dedenne will have the ability Friend Guard, meaning in double battles it'll allow its partner Pokemon to stick around for even longer. Moving into the generations after Mega Evolution was introduced, there were actually less options than there may seem at first. After Gen 6, Game Freak really started to try and make most, if not every Pokemon viable. So finding ones that needed a boost was a bit more difficult than the previous gens. One that I did decide on was Turtonator. Turtonator has always been a pretty cool Pokemon with a cool typing that's always just fallen behind. First and foremost, Turtonator is focused on physical defense, allowing it to use its signature move Shell Trap. To make the most of this move, Turtonator will see a big increase on its physical defense and special attack. It'll also get a bit of a boost to its special defense to increase its staying power a bit more. To further increase its defensive capability, it'll get the ability Iron Barbs, to further punish any contact made with Turtonator. One notorious thing about Gen 7 is that a very large portion of the dex is extremely slow, even in cases where it really shouldn't be, such as Vikavolt. Despite its Pokédex entries mentioning how it flies around at high speeds, Vikavolt has a pitiful speed stat of 43, the same speed as Caterpie. We're going to fix this, heavily. Vikavolt already has an amazing special attack stat of 145, so most of its stats can go to its speed and defenses, but it will have a small increase to its special attack. To even further remedy its speed problem, Mega Vikavolt will have Speed Boost to let it have the potential to snowball quickly, if not dealt with. Finding another Mon to give a Mega 2 was rough, as many of the Gen 7 Pokemon are already pretty strong or would need much more than a Mega to fix. Ultimately, I decided to go with Tsareena. It's not as slow as many other Pokemon for this gen, but it could still use a bit of a boost to its speed. Mega Tsareena will have a smaller boost to its defenses, with most of its stats going to its attack and speed, making it hit hard and outspeed a lot of Pokemon with a little bit of speed control. Its ability will stay as Queenly Majesty because it's still a really good ability and by far the most fitting one for the Pokemon. Gen 8 had a fair number of Pokemon that were underpowered, especially compared to the power creep that happened in these games. One of these was Thievul. Thievul has decent special defense and speed, but mediocre everything else. To fit its sneaky trickster personality, Mega Thievul will mainly be a disruptor Pokemon, so it will see a big increase to speed with its special attack and special defense also seeing a small boost. Ability-wise, I had a few options, mainly Prankster, but I decided not to, as the only move that it gets that benefits from this really is Parting Shot. Don't get me wrong, Parting Shot is a really good move, but not quite enough to justify Prankster as its ability. So I decided to go with Opportunist. This will deter any Pokemon from trying to set up in front of Mega Thievul while allowing it to debuff the enemy with the likes of Snarl, Parting Shot, and Knockoff. Boltund is a Pokemon that definitely feels like it's missing something. It's fast, but not the fastest, and as a mixed attacker, it's got okay attacking stats, but nothing great. So with a Mega Boltund, it should see a huge boost to speed, bringing it up to a massive 161, fitting of the dog breed it's based on, with its offensive stats going up to 120. This is a bit smaller compared to many other Megas, but it will be boosted further with its ability Electric Surge. This will give Boltund's electric moves a further boost and give us another non-legendary Pokemon to set up electric terrain, apart from Pincurchin. This Mega will not only elevate Boltund, but any Pokemon that benefits from electric terrain. Lastly, for Gen 8 is a Pokemon that I really love, but has always been a pretty big disappointment. Grapploct. Grapploct, in theory, is a really cool Pokemon with its signature move trapping in Pokemon and slowly lowering their defenses. However, it doesn't really have the bulk to back this playstyle up, so let's fix it. Mega Grapploct will see massive boosts to its defense and physical attack, allowing it to make full use of Octolock and slowly whittle down its opponent. Ability-wise, I've got two options that I like. It could keep Technician to boost its weaker moves, or it could get Regenerator to improve its overall longevity through the course of a battle. Either one of these works really well. Choosing Pokemon from Gen 9 was pretty rough, as so many of the Pokemon in this gen are already very solid ones that just need a slight stat or move pool buff. Out of the ones I chose, the one that needs a Mega the least is probably Bellibolt. Bellibolt is already capable of some decent damage with Electromorphosis in tandem with its good bulk and decent special attack. A Mega Bellibolt should even further improve its staying power with big increases to its defensive stats and bumping its special attack all the way up to 140. Keeping Electromorphosis as its ability, Bellibolt will be able to retaliate against attackers with huge parabolic charges that may very well heal off any damage it took, making it a very sturdy wall and very hard to take down. As for the next Gen 9 Pokemon, it was much easier to choose. Spidops is terrible. I love it, but it's terrible. Spidops' main goal in battle is setting up hazards, so let's boost its defenses to make sure it can stay around long enough to do so. With its defenses going up to 125 and 120, it can stay around longer to get off even more hazards. I also gave it a boost to its attack, letting it be capable of some decent damage. As for its ability, I decided to go with Arena Trap, fitting of its nature for trapping its prey. All of these changes to Mega Spidops will let it finally fulfill its one and only purpose. If only it were as powerful as Spidops Unbound. And for the last Pokemon in this video, we have one that I want to see the most. Scovillain. I love Scovillain to death, but I can't deny it's definitely missing something. Despite being the first grass fire type, it was very quickly overshadowed by Hearthflame Ogerpon, and its design does somewhat feel like a middle stage. So how do we improve Scovillain? Looking at its stats, it's a mixed attacker, and fairly slow with 2 decent abilities in Chlorophyll and Moody. I struggled and struggled and struggled to figure out how to make a Mega Scovillain work while keeping its identity. But I came up with an idea. What better idea than for the Pokemon with 2 split heads to get an X and a Y Mega? Starting with Mega Scovillain X, it's going to be a slower, bulkier physical attacker. To support its slower playstyle, it's going to keep Scovillain's hidden ability Moody, giving it a random stat boost and stat drop every turn. This will let it quickly snowball out of control if it gets lucky enough and isn't dealt with. As for Mega Scovillain Y, it's going to be a faster special attacker, keeping one of its base form's regular abilities Chlorophyll. With a massive 120 base speed, nothing is going to outspeed it in the sun, and little will be able to take hits from its 155 special attack stat. Both of these Megas would hopefully give Scovillain more of a presence in competitive Pokemon and make it a truly terrifying threat on Sun teams. So that about does it for my ideas of new Megas that could be introduced in the Mega Dimensions DLC. I'll be really happy if I'm able to get even one of these right, but either way, I'm really looking forward to seeing what new Megas we get, and hopefully Incineroar is not one of them.